What's good, Rick, and here with a special episode of The Mortal Intern, talking about how the coronavirus is going to affect job recruiting and internship recruiting. Now, today's date is March 28th. Obviously, things are changing on a daily, if not hourly basis. So there's a good chance that if you're watching this video a couple of weeks, months from now, things have changed and we'll have a way better idea of what's going on. But as it stands today, I think there's a lot of folks who are either juniors, seniors, sophomores in college, figuring out what does coronavirus mean for recruiting for internships, or what does it mean for recruiting for jobs? And in today's video, I want to start dissecting just a little bit of that. So I think the broad answer that most people who are honest will tell you is we don't know. We don't really know how coronavirus is going to affect us, in the sense that we don't know how long it's going to take us to recover. I think what we do know is that first and foremost, it is going to have lasting effects, not just a couple weeks or months like there's some people who believe, but I think the effects that we're seeing of coronavirus are going to be widespread and we're going to see them for many, many months to come. The other thing that we know is companies are already putting on hiring freezes. We're seeing that a lot of major companies, actually major companies and just medium-sized companies, small companies, all across the board, they're either laying people off, having hiring freezes. There are a handful of companies that are hiring, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But we do know that for the most part, the majority of companies have stopped hiring. And the reason is they're already uncertain if they'll be able to maintain their existing staff and continue paying them. So they're really putting the brakes on hiring any new staff, because who knows what the economic picture is going to look like 3, 6, 9 months from now. So even if your internship was 6 months from now, there's a lot of uncertainty around that. And I think it's important to know if it's still going to be around, if it's going to be rescinded. There's a great website. I'll go ahead and link to it in the description below. That's keeping up to date a lot of companies that have put on hiring freezes, or kind of what the status of these companies' hiring processes. There are still some companies like Amazon who are still hiring. Walmart's still hiring. There's a handful of these companies who are still hiring, and those are places that you can go to. The flip side is I think it's also important to know what are the companies that are starting to rescind offers. A lot of you who may have thought in the fall, hell yeah, I've got my internship, I'm good to go, maybe finding out now that these companies are starting to either put a hiring freeze on or rescind offers. And that's just something you've got to be wary about. I think as a whole, the objective is really changing. I think a couple months ago, a lot of these videos were talking about how do you get your dream internship? How do you say, hey, I want to work at Toyota or a big four tech company and get that internship? And I think now it's changing to how do I get an internship? How do I get a job so that you can weather this storm? And really just means changing that outlook of, instead of how do I get my dream job right now, how do I set myself up for it so I can get that dream job in a year or 2 years or whenever the storm starts to die off and we start to recover. So if you are a computer science student or just an engineer of some sort, instead of working for a big four tech company, which you may have had your eyes on, maybe you're working for a hospital group right now, building up those skills, and then in 4 years pivoting over, or 2 years pivoting over to one of the big four tech companies. Just something to think about, because for right now, there's just a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of the companies you may have wanted to work for are going to have hiring freezes or rescind offers. And we're going to start seeing that in the next coming days, weeks, months, as we find out what's going on. The other thing that we know is that people who graduate during recessions tend to have worse economic career outlooks, because you kind of start off on a worse foot. Because let's say you're graduating right now, and because you can't get a job or an internship, you spend the next 6 months or 9 months or even a year kind of just sitting at home playing video games. When the economy does start to pick back up again, what you're going to find is there's someone else who's been working for that 1 year, who's built up experience, and now you're competing with that person. So making sure that you're not letting yourself stagnate while you're waiting for things to pick back. I've got a lot of friends who are using this time to develop their skills, further their education, whatever it might be, or even possibly start their own venture. And I think those are a couple options. So first off, increasing your education. A lot of people are saying, you know what, I've been thinking about getting my master's or getting a PhD or whatever that is. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And that might be an option you might want to start considering. If you can still apply to some schools, still consider it, see what you can do. It's just an option. I think it's really important to differentiate. Don't go to school for the sake of going to school. Don't just add debt to your pile of debt. But if that was already part of the strategic plan, maybe your plan was to work for a year or 2 years and then go to school, but you knew for a fact that you were going to go to school. Maybe you kind of short circuit that a little bit. go to school now and then build your career after that. The other thing is, if you don't want to actually go to get formal education, there's a lot of things you can do to brush up your own skills. So I've got friends who are marketers who have been doing a lot of photo and creative work and are saying, you know what, pretty much overnight, all of my new clients and my existing clients have just turned off. I'm going to spend the next few months learning SQL. I'm going to learn Facebook marketing and Google marketing, get certified, and build up your education so that when you come back, you're stronger. I think one thing you're going to find is the people who are working right now, they're not probably taking as much time to invest in their education. If you can come back, build a niche, find a place to focus on, and come back stronger than everyone else, that's going to be valuable as well. And the last thing to think about is, if you've been on the fence about starting a venture, this might be a good time to do it. If I was in this situation a year ago, let's say I was graduating and this was all going on, I think that's exactly what I would have done, is found a way to start a business now because I've wanted to do so. And if I can't get a job, I may as well take that time to start a business. And you might be thinking, this is not a great time to do so, but it may be. There's a lot of times where right now in a recession or a slow economy, you're going to be faster and more nimbler than your bigger competition. I think today a lot of people are going to reconsider how can they save more money. I had this happen just this morning where I was talking to my roommates and saying, you know what, we should get a lawnmower and start mowing our own lawn. And what used to happen is I used to have a lawnmower a couple months ago, it's stolen. And since then, I've literally just called a lawn mowing guy every month or so to take care of the lawn. And now I'm thinking about it, saying, you know what, if I can save 50 to 80 bucks a month by just getting my own lawnmower and doing it, maybe it's worth doing. I've also been thinking about the same thing with my gym membership. I have a climbing gym that, like most people, I probably don't use as much as I want to be using, but I still go there, probably once or twice a week. Maybe it's time to go to cancel that just to have more money saved up. And you're going to find this across the board. So if you can find a business that allows people to save money, that may be something to pursue. One option is like technology, right? When times are good and people crack their phones, they're going to say, you know what, I could spend $400 to buy a new phone, or I could spend $200 to fix it. You know what, I'm just going to spend the extra $200 and buy a new phone. When times are tight, people are going to say, you know what, I'm going to save that $200 and fix my phone. And this is straight from Lewis Rossman, who I was watching earlier today. Things are going to change. And right now, if you've had an idea in your head that's a real business that can actually make money, not just a, hey, I want to build an app, but a real business, this might be the time to do it. Because while all the other companies and all the other competition has a bunch of kind of fixed costs and they can't pivot, a lot of these companies are not investing in long-term projects. You may be able to do so. That's just something to think about, is if you're not able to find an internship or a job, this may be the time to go ahead and try out that venture you've wanted to do. I'm really kind of thinking about that. Again, if I'm fortunate right now to have a job, things are going well for now. But if I was in a situation where I didn't have that, I would definitely say, you know what, this is a good time to be lean, mean, to build something while everyone else is kind of sitting around waiting for things to pick back up. Overall, I think there's just a lot of uncertainty in the job market right now. So if you're in school looking for an internship, I think just high level, changing that mindset from how do I get my dream job today to how do I set myself up to get that dream job 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, and what are the different steps I can take to weather the storm and get me there. So high level, just some thoughts. Obviously, I'll keep you guys posted as I think of more stuff and find more stuff coming out and as we get more news coming in. But I hope that video helps. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you guys enjoyed that video, please go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to share with other people, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much.